Here is part of that exchange that happened in Canberra today.
Has the government received any warnings from agencies, officials, experts or foreign governments that this decision could lead to an increase in people smuggling arrivals?
This government will continue to be tough on borders without being weak on humanity. During the 9 years in which they were in office, the 9 years, not one of those people was sent back.
On relevance, the question went to whether the Prime Minister has received advice that this backflipping policy would result in more boats likely to come.
Order, resume your seats.
We were very clear before the election. Very clear.
The member for Deakin is warned.
Exactly what we told the Australian people we would do before the election, and we have a mandate for it.
Again, Dan, the slipperiness about all of this, right? In 9 years, none of these people were sent home. Hang on, we know what happened, which was 38,000 people ended up coming here. As many as could be sent home, flown home were. And what you've seen here with the 19,000 who might have been in offshore processing that, of course, had to come out because of Medivac, despite the fact that, of course, even when that legislation came through, there were no life-threatening conditions. The longest stay in hospital was only a couple of days. We all know that moving to community detention was so they could go through the process. If they eventually failed in the process, they'd be booted out of the country. That's why they were still here in the country. But as the Shadow Immigration Minister, give us an idea about family reunion. Now that 19,000 people have access to it, do they get one family member, 2, 5, 6? What are they able to apply for over the next few years?
Well, they can apply for as many visas as they see fit. And the unfair thing here, Paul, is that they have been prioritised above, for instance, visas into regional and rural communities to provide doctors, nurses, teachers that are much needed in those communities. So what we're seeing is, once again, this government's priorities are all wrong. And not only that, the Prime Minister never makes mention of the fact that in 2013 he was the Deputy Prime Minister that stood alongside Prime Minister Kevin Rudd saying that anyone who came by boat would never settle in this country. So the message this sends out to the people smugglers is that if you test the will of a Labor government, you know that in the end, one way or another, that they will buckle. And that is the really concerning thing about this, because none of us want to see what happened between 2007 and 2013 happen again, because our immigration system wasn't run with integrity, it was run by the people smugglers.
This is it. 1,500 people died. Remember what happened off the side of Christmas Island? Or I was one of those people who was part of the gang in 2007 that thought, oh, you know, time to be humanity and all the rest of it. The open door led to deaths. It needed to be slammed. Now it gets reopened. It will lead to more into the future. Whether we know about them or not, we'll all have to wait and see. Dan, thanks for the chat. The Shadow Immigration Minister. What about that? The blank cheque now, as many as you want. They waited the system out. We're the fools that turn around and pretend that there's nothing to see here. Twitter cheers them on, and the very electorates that elect people like the Teals say no to overdevelopment. Well, where do these 19,000 people who are now allowed to have unlimited amount of people come from the families expect them to live? Oh, that's right, anywhere but where they do.